Alright guys, Shotty T here with the Alliance War videos, the first video of the new season. For some reason, the one that I originally posted didn't have my voiceover commentary, even though I pretty much talked non-stop for 30 minutes, so here's take two of it. So, I do apologize for that, but my team's going to be Sorcerer, Supreme, Quake, and Magic. Now, the goal was to have a deathless season, or at least minimize as many deaths as possible. But unfortunately, this war pretty much shot those goals down the drain, but you'll see why. But anyway, we're facing Protect. Once again, we're heavily mismatched. Not sure how that happened, but even in the mismatch, I mean, the health pools and the attack pools are still, the deficits are not as great as it would be doing content in Act 6. So all these fights are still doable, and the nodes are still the same. It's just the champions have take a little bit longer to kill them. So really, it just boils down to bringing the proper counters and executing your game plan. Because a lot of the times, if you look at the mismatches or anything like that, I mean, obviously, it's like one famous baseball player once said, 90% of the game is half mental, even though that, it's a lot of, there was some truth to that, but obviously mathematically it didn't make sense. But anyway, first fight here, we have a Hit Monkey. We're going to be using Sorcerer here. Um, the safest counter I have of these three. So we got a the thing about Hit Monkey, I remember Legacy having a video where he actually died to Hit Monkey on this particular node, because when you knock him down, of course it gets rid of ebb and flow, but he also triggers his primal rage and that assassin's thing. So the orange thing, of course, it purifies the very next debuff that you apply. But when he has both active, his special attacks become unblockable. So you have to, that's the only thing you have to be aware of. And apparently he didn't block and got canned in the face because of that. So obviously I learned off watching his videos to make sure that I'm aware when he has that, to obviously the special that you prefer to him to throw in that situation is the SP1. The SP2 is pretty much impossible to dex the whole thing. So anyway, that was the first fight. Next fight here, we got a Namor. Again, another fight. Like I said, these first two fights are somewhat quake proof. Hit Monkey, you really can't quake him successfully. It'll be a hard time. I mean, technically you can quake Namor, but he has a thing with his outrage meter. Is that I think the more you decrease or the more you stun him, the quicker that outrage meter builds up. So before the fight is over, chances are he's gonna get the Imperious Rex. So you can quake him up to that point, but of course when he has this when he builds up to that 3 bars of fire temporarily, of course it'll go straight down to 2 bars, so you don't have to worry about him throwing the SP3 on you. But it is possible if the AI is quick to throw it. So that's the reason why quaking is not the best option there. But really, it's not really that. He'll definitely throw his SP2, and if you're quaking in the middle of him throwing his SP2, then you're messed up, because as you can see, he got the 3 bars of power. He got the 30 charges, but he didn't get the 3 bars of power. So, but the fight was just simpler with Sorcerer. So that's the first 2 fights, and we're gonna use her again for this third fight, which is another fight that's tough to use Quake. So obviously, when the opponent placed their defense, they had in mind that Quake is not gonna like beat them. Yeah, it's gonna be some fights you can't do nothing about with her, because obviously she's too good for a lot of matchups. But this is gonna make it more difficult to Quake with her. It's going to require skilled quaking to execute the fight. But this fight here, we're going to use Sorcerer because she has a mechanic in her diamond form that she has high physical resistance, so that's why it's tough to quake, and you're likely going to time out. So here, my SB1 is going to armor break her, so that gets her out of diamond form, so I can safely parry. Because otherwise, if you try to fight her without an armor break champ, then you're going to have a tough time because you're going to have to basically intercept her. So Sorcerer has two things going for her in this matchup. She has the armor break, and of course she has the slow. So if she's not in diamond form, if she does throw a heavy attack while she's slow, I can still punish her. But anyway, this fight's going pretty smoothly, and there we go. So this next fight, this is going to be the reason why we don't have the perfect season. Obviously, in hindsight, probably should just use magic. But when I did like our pre-fight war plans, I was kind of determined to use Quake for this fight. Cause usually I do use Quake on this fight, especially against Mystic champs, except for Long Shot. And this fight is possible quite easily because RNG sometimes with the prompts can get bad, but certain prompts that pop up, if you see what they are, then you can just quake and parry instead of quake and shake, because sometimes the shaking part can throw it off. But as you can see here, I don't know what the prompts are, so I get a notification, and next thing you know, he's at a bar of power. And at the time, I didn't know that I had 3 straight prompts, but I was looking at this commentary. He had 3 straight prompts pop up right when that notification popped up. It's almost like it was like coordinated. And then you get another prompt. I get another notification. Next thing you know, my health is low. I was trying to drop my heavy so I can get ready to ditch that SB1, but by then it was too late. Now my health is below 18%, and as I said in the previous videos, if your health is below 18%, you're subject to assassins, and that's exactly what happened there. It wasn't because I forgot to quake at the very end. It's that I couldn't. I had a 40% ability accuracy reduction by the end, so that fight was pretty much over at that point. It's too much damage. So we will revive, and we decide, okay, let's just finish this fight with magic. And after doing this, I said, probably, yeah, I should just use her in the beginning, because when flow wars were very prominent, when you had mojo bosses all over the place, magic was the preferred option by far. And yeah, this is not even a boss fight, so yeah, I probably just should have used her from the beginning, but it's all good. I mean, like I said, it was possible to still quake it, but that notification just really messed it up. But we continue on. So yeah, Magic's making quick work, less stressful work out of this mojo. Because the thing about his prompts, if he fails on one prompt, then you can just either dance around or not do that prompt that they're saying not to do, and it will reset his followers back down to 1. So usually it's difficult for him to get all the way to 5 prompts, 5 followers, especially if you see what they are. But again, I just couldn't see it. But we move on. So we revive Quake because we plan on using her for this court fight. Like I said, the defensive layout kind of made it where bringing like synergy champs for just synergy purposes made it more difficult to bring them, especially if they're non-attacking synergy members like Heimdall or, well, I see nobody really brings Heimdall to war for synergy, but White Magneto, he does get brought in quite a bit. especially for fights like this when you have opponents that shrug off debuffs on a regular basis or brute force, where the ability to parry them without being punished is possible. Now there are some champs that where you can actually use to fight core, such as Storm Pyramid X, but couldn't really afford to bring her this war. You will see her in the next war video though. But yeah, but this Quake fight's pretty basic. Like I said, I've quaked him enough times to get familiar with his animations. His headbutt is his second medium, so that's the attack you gotta look for to reset your quaking in case he finishes with an odd combo. Cause if you finish with an even combo with the second medium, it's easy to restart your cycle, but you have to be ready if he does it on an odd combo, like a 3-hit combo or 5-hit combo. His fourth light attack is a kick, but I don't think you get a chance to see that in this fight. All right, yep, he's down. All right, so next we got a Killmonger. Could have gone two ways here. Could have gone with Sorcerer. Could have gone with Magic. Magic is the safer of the two, I guess. I mean, Killmonger. Actually, I could have used Sorcerer because you'll see Sorcerer in a later Killmonger fight. But the Footloose, I prefer just not to deal with it in case of the AI not being as cooperative. So I like to make sure I have things under control myself right there. So all the control is started now. So now just a matter of not messing up. I do mess up towards the very end of the fight, but he was nearly dead anyway. So I'm still taking a little bit of reverb, but the limbo is healing it back, even though he has no bar of power. So apparently he still can take reverb, but just not as magnified when his power meter is empty. But it's just fine with Magic. All right, one more should do it. So we said we stop it there. Yeah, so now they got to stop dancing with me. And I got a little late there. I was way too late with the medium attack. I dashed forward but forgot to hit the medium button in time. But we finished. Now we have a Nihilus. So this particular fight, you're just gonna, a lot of fights moving forward, you're gonna see a lot of tactics being used. This one you're gonna have just some good intercepting, but in general, when you fight a Nihilus, he's one of those champs, and you'll see it in two other fights where he has that medium attack that dashes at you. So easy way is just the dash back light counter combo, especially if you don't want to, especially if you got a champ that can't nullify his rod, because you obviously don't want to deal with that stifle and that unstoppable, and then next thing you know you're cornered type of ordeal. So we started there, and of course Sorcerer's SP1 can nullify the buff that the opponent has on them at the time, and then that R nullification field can just keep nullifying. So that's why you see me gaining all that power right there. All right, so now we throw the SP3 here. And again, we nail another intercept. So he's almost down, but I do get hit right there. But there's nothing debilitating there. Another nice intercept there. Kind of got sloppy towards the end. Not sure what I was thinking of at this point in time. But there we go. All right, so and so this next fight again, this is a very common placement. You got a Mortal Abomination. Like I said, if the opponent has willpower, Warlock, you can just parry. Um, Infection, keep him power drained. But obviously, when this before this war even started, I did duel this profile, and he did not have willpower. So I said, well, no Warlock, I'll just use Quake. So that's why I do, and you still got to use them, especially when you're not sure. Because I mean, suicide, sometimes people can change that mastery, but willpower, if someone has willpower, they're gonna 9 times out of 10, they're gonna 99 times out of 100, they're not gonna turn it off and then turn it back on. Because I mean, it costs a lot of units to turn on and turn off stuff like that every war. Um, Suicides, I can see people do that, especially if there's a champ they want to duel for an arena. I mean, this weekend did have the feature champ for Silver Centurion, so sometimes you never know, especially if Suicides is truly there or not, when you got a champion that people can grind for. But this fight, like I said, I'm used to it. You want to quake and shake the guy, because if you quake and parry, there's a chance that when he touches you, that you can get poisoned. And that poison, even if you got willpower, you're not gonna heal back the pace of the poison is still gonna be more than what you're healing back from it. So if you get enough poisons inflicted to you over time, if you just continue to quake and parry, you're just gonna lose health, and then obviously get in that assassin's range once again. But of course, this quake and shake, I'm so used to doing it where it's not necessary to quake and parry. But again, that Mojo fight would have been the exception in that case when it comes to the prompt. But yeah, still kind of, that Mojo fight still kind of like, yeah, could have had it, but could have used magic. All right, so there we go. One more fight. And there's a lot of fights this war, by the way. I didn't realize how many fights I took until this war was over. I said, man, it didn't seem like that much, because when you're in the middle of fighting, it's like I try to bring the team that'll maximize who I plan on taking. And a lot of times, the way it works out with my individual path, and most of the time I'm taking the minis on the right side anyway. So it can just, this happens to fit who I have. So this fight here is not too difficult. The only thing, obviously, when she throws her SP1, you don't want to try to punish it, because you're subject to get sabotaged, literally. And then her heavy attack, if you mistime it, you can mistime the punishment and you can get messed up as well. So I usually just play on the safe side and don't attack her heavy unless I'm anticipating the heavy attack. Well, a lot of times she'll throw it when you don't anticipate it. And if you're off by a half second, you'll get punished. And you don't want to get punished by her if you don't have a shock immune champ. So we just kept it safe until we were able to finally get the 2 bars of power, and then slowly push her back to her side of the board so we can do our backdraft. And now we're in control of the fight. All right, so there we go. We got the backdraft. The only thing obviously you have to be aware of is that whenever the passive fury expires, any debuffs you have on the opponent, they're gonna purify. But by then I'm nearly up back to 2 bars of power, so it's no big deal. All right, so next fight here we got Thing. And as you guys saw, I've been using a lot of 30% boosts. A lot of these fights is not necessary to use it, but I had such an overflow of accumulation of those during the off season that yeah, I'm pretty much using them almost every fight because a lot of these gonna expire within 24 hours of this war. They were gonna expire, so I wasn't even gonna have them at my disposal for the next war, and I was too busy to get started on variant content to make use of them there. So I said, why not use them in war? Use it or lose it, because there's no point of selling it when it's about to expire. You said, might as well use it where you can use it, which war makes a lot of sense. But cause you'll see that this 30% boost will make this fight last about a minute and 30 seconds. But if I didn't use the boost, it would be like a 2 minute fight, or maybe 2.5 minute fight. And so, like I said, and it's kind of like in a nutshell, fighting against rank 3 opponents. Yeah, the fight would be a little bit longer, but you can still overcome. You just got to do what you've been doing to beat the champs when they were rank 2 or rank 5. You just got to do that for another 30 seconds, roughly. That's usually what that means. So, but sometimes psychologically, you say, oh man, we got a lot of rank 3 defenders. We're an underdog, but you can't. 90% of the game is half mental. But this thing fight, we will go ahead and finish him off here. Got a couple of aftershock charges cycles to go. All right, and we're done. I'm gonna pause it right here and come back shortly. All right, so this is the last fight of the night before I go to bed. So we're gonna maximize this 30% boost here. I think we got like a few minutes left on it. There we go. So this fight, we do survive it, but like I said, it was one mistake I made at the very end. And actually, I probably should have died obviously, if I didn't boost, I would have been dead regardless. But her own ability saved me on this fight. But here, we're gonna do the same tactic that I did against Deathless. So usually when I fight him on this note with Sorcerer, I start off in the icons ingenuity phase, so that way I can build power quicker with the power steal. And then by the time I get to my next blessing, I'm at a bar of power, so I can throw my SP1 so I can armor break. So that way we can get ahead of the reverberation situation. There you can see just those couple of hits there, I took quite a bit of reverb damage. But polka dot power, she's not building her power as much, but we're just trying to refresh it. I probably should have I had a chance to throw my SP1 again, but I was hoping I got the 2 bars of power so I could have a much longer armor break. So now we just gotta bait this SP2 here, and while also waiting for that reverb to go back and cool down, and then we'll throw our SP3 there while she was in her Fury blessing. So basically every special I throw for the rest of this fight is gonna guarantee an armor break on them. So if I want to heal myself with her other form, then I can do that, because that's when the fun really starts. So far so good. We're just doing the same thing, dash back, light counter. Like, we try to minimize taking blocks because he is a rank 3 at the same time. All right, so we throw the SP1 there, armor break. I mean, it lasts pretty much long enough for me to get to another SP1. And then slowly but surely I could see if I can get to an SP2 to make it even longer. So we bait another SP2 there. All right, throw the SP1, refresh the armor break. Dash back, light counter. Now we're in our power steal mode. Probably should have used that to siphon more power. But we throw an SP1 there. Wasn't ready to dash back light counter there, so that's the reason why I just reset myself to do it again. Yeah, see, when I'm thinking he's dashing, he's retreating in the corner. So it's like the AI's playing games with you sometimes. So that time I get parried. I wasn't trying to parry, but luckily she changed in her other form toward the end of that SP2. Had I not got there, I would have been dead. Because in those other two, in her armor phase, I think she has very increased critical resistance and physical resistance. So that's the reason why I was able to sustain that SP2. And we got off in that fight with just a little bit of a pinch of health. So now we're the next morning. We're gonna check where we are. All right, so we're up 6-4 in our BG, not bad against rank 3 competition, and overall we're okay. I mean, the opponent has their favorite because they have less opponents left, and we've died more times, but only 2. And I know our diversity edge is pretty decent. Not sure about how much, but because they did have quite a few duplicate defenders out there. But this fight here, we're gonna use Sorcerer. I said Warlock is a great counter for her, but Sorcerer probably is just as good, if not better, especially if she's awakened. She has like she has an increased ability accuracy depending on her Sig level, and of course I have mine at max Sig, and I believe at max Sig she has increased 50% ability accuracy, and of course her blessings effects are more potent as well. But the ability accuracy reduction is the key thing here, because Domino has built in ability accuracy reduction by 15% to the opponent. So basically, if with the 15% ability accuracy reduction, that means anytime, and if she's awakened, anytime you have an ability that fails to trigger, then you will take critical failure damage. So this is a rank 3 defender, so obviously don't want to be taking a lot of that damage. But as you can see, critical failure does not trigger the whole fight because, again, because of Sorcerer's awakened ability. Now, it doesn't prevent her from getting unlucky. So that still means I can't dex back when she throws her SP1. I just have to take the block damage. So that's the only thing I just have to be mindful of. And of course, if Domino is lucky, if I don't have a slow debuff on her, she's still gonna evade. Like I said, it's all about Sorcerer's ability, not the opponent's. So she doesn't have any defensive ability accuracy reduction other than the slow for evading and unstoppable champs. So just getting a little champion lesson there. So awakened abilities help all champs, but some may not be as useful to others. But now we're going to the war fight. I see they have double R kills. So once again, this war is lost. Despite our edge in our BG, but we truck on here. We're gonna again throw, even though we fought rank 3 apocalypse in wars that were losses without boosting. Again, use it or lose it, it's there. So this one, I kind of wasted a lot of time early on because I was determined to not have him throw a special. If I really wanted to do that, I would have just do a power start boost and let him hit me at the start of the fight. But I was trying to do it to where I can throw I can keep holding block after I do a combo attempt, because it decreases the chance for the opponent to not throw a special. That's the reason why you see me holding block quite a bit. So now we throw our SP2, steal the bar of power. So we're gonna try to see if we can do that one more time. Obviously, we can't backdraft at this point because he can intercept me with his own special. All right, so now we do it one more time. Now we just gotta get probably like 2 more combos in there, and then we can finally power lock him without him throwing a special. And now he's power locked. But the thing is, I wasted so much time to get to that point. We're a minute and 15 seconds in. He's only lost 12% health, so I got to get to work. Not to mention those buffs are piling up, and obviously it's gonna make it to where if I throw an SB3 with my level of missed dispersion, it's gonna put me over 3 bars of power for the second time. That's what I don't want to have happen. I get hit there, and we're trying to race ourselves to an SB3 if possible, but it does require the opponent to be a little cooperative because it's tough enough to build up to 2 bars of power with the magic cycle, and it's not that hard to do really, but to try to race yourself to 3 bars of power, you have to get pretty good AI cooperation. So he dexes back my medium attack, and so I whiffed that, but I already had exposed myself for the first light attack. I hit confirm, and once I saw that it connected, I just continued to finish the combo. So we go ahead and just throw the SB3 here, even though he's at a bar of power. So obviously he could throw his SB1 technically, but we're just hoping that we're not at 3 bars of power already. Just got a sliver left, so I got to do a special intercept, and we nail it there. I did quite a few special attack intercepts this war. Like this game, slowly but surely is going to evolve to where you have to do certain tactics to get better. And a lot of the stuff I learned in Dork lessons, and I know he has some BAMs here probably, but a lot of skills that you can develop are for free, especially in that Winter Soldier fight in Realm of Legends. It literally costs 1 unit of energy to do so. If you want to practice quaking, ghosting, magic cycling, doom cycling, Tigra, Cosmic Ghost Rider cycling, or whatever champion strategy cycle that you're trying to accumulate, you got that Winter Soldier fight to do so. Or just regular stuff you want to try, like intercepting, heavy counter, baiting heavies, baiting specials. All of those are key to success in the game in one form or the other. And so, but yeah, that's why I learned a lot of this stuff is by watching Dork lesson videos and then just applying them on those fights. When I learned how to quake, I first tried to see if I could quake and parry at least Winter Soldier all the way, and then I graduated myself to see if I can quake and shake. And then after that, it's a matter of quaking and shaking against certain opponents who got different animations, and then also knowing what opponents you can't quake or have more difficult time to quake. So, but anyway. But we got this fight more under control now. Now, as you can see, the power still isn't prompting up as much. I guess because her SB2 has a 90% chance to apply power lock per hit. So there's a chance that on 2 hits that it doesn't apply at all. But we were able to get the 1 shot anyway. A little longer than I wanted it to be because of the wasted time in the beginning. But despite our efforts, even from defense, we got 13 kills from the boss, but it wasn't quite enough. We still got other kills elsewhere, but hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And the next war, we'll try to get that posted later today.